Am I the asshole for refusing to stay home with the kids while my husband attends my brother's wedding? I'm a stom and my husband works full-time. We have 3 kids and one of them is 2 years old. My husband helps a lot with the kids. He's a committed dad but is absolutely against babysitters due to an awful incident with a babysitter that was the reason his younger male cousin James got disabled years ago. I don't go out much since I have to take the kids with me and not every place is suitable for kids. We received an invitation for my brother's, who has been my husband's friend since college, wedding which we later discovered was child-free. My brother lives states away so the entire trip will take 4 days as well as my brother's in-laws weekend dinner party. Their tradition. I told my husband I want to go since it's been a while since I've been to a wedding and this one is special and suggested we get a trusted friend as a babysitter. He asked if I was serious to consider leaving our 2-year-old with a babysitter and suggested that I do what I normally do and stay home with the kids while he goes to the wedding. I refused and said I have as much right to attend as him since we both were invited. He said it wasn't his fault my brother wants a child-free wedding and I should do this for the kids and sacrifice for their sake. I still refused and said this was unfair and since he's a parent too then he should also stay for the kids. He looked at me and said that's my best friend's wedding you're asking me to skip for Christ's sake, are you kidding me? Then said I was being petty for suggesting this and that I was basically choosing to go and party over keeping our kids safe. He asked me to consider this a business trip. What would I do? Go with him and leave the kids? I said I understand his paranoia of babysitters but really all my friends have sitters and at times they're really needed. He said I ought to know better than what my friends tell me and this wasn't even up for discussion and when I kept arguing he called me selfish and said he won't let me ruin his relationship with his friend because I was being spiteful for not being able to attend and that my brother'll understand my situation. He keeps asking who's more important, a wedding party or my kids, and said I was unreasonable for making my attendance the hill to die on. Aita? Am I being selfish for wanting to attend this wedding, my brother's wedding after 4 years not attending anything? Am I the asshole for telling my husband I will continue taking a nap after work instead of finding something to keep me busy? My husband and I recently got married and moved in together. He comes from a background of what I consider to be toxic productivity. If he isn't busy doing something, he finds something to do. I have never been this way and it's not like he didn't know that considering we've been together for 4 to 5 years. I'm not sure if he thought he would change me after getting married or what, but it's exhausting. I am a school teacher right now. I make $38,000 a year and I work at minimum 9 to 11-hour days. I also have endometriosis. He works with heavy equipment and makes close to 6 figures. He works a minimum of 12-hour days. He and I have a cooking schedule where we interchange who cooks. This has worked out really well for us. He helps clean everything besides the floors, and I help clean everything besides the shower. I do all the laundry myself and I also vacuum and mop the floors myself. He walks the dog in the morning, I walk her at night. I like to think everything is pretty evenly divided. Every single time he finds out I came home and took a nap, he seems to be in a down mood. We always end up having a conversation about how he thinks my naps should be limited to 1 hour, and that instead I should find something to do if everything else in the house is done, like reorganizing the closet. For example, yesterday I came home and worked my ass off for the house to be spotless and to cook. He cried from how thankful he was that I did so much. Today, with a still spotless house, he was upset because I woke up a few minutes after he came home and he says it isn't normal to want to nap often. I nap when I get home from work about 2 to 3 times a week. Never while he is home, and it is never a problem. It is always a problem if he comes home and I am just waking up. He said I need to conform to normal sleep times. Napping like that isn't healthy, and there is always something to do. I say I can nap whenever I want as long as the house is clean, and I'm not cutting into our dinner time. It seems he is hell-bent on napping cutting into my productivity, but when I set an alarm before he arrives and appear awake, he has no issues with how productive I am. I think he is the asshole for wanting to change a way that I have been my whole life, and he thinks I'm an asshole for napping too much instead of filling my time with whatever else. Aita for refusing to change for seemingly no valid reason? Am I the asshole for telling my sister that it's not my fault that she is poor and her marriage is miserable? I am Indian. Arranged marriages are a big thing here. The story starts when I was 18. My sister, Ani, who also had an arranged marriage to Abe and had 2 kids, tried to convince my parents to marry me off to Abe's close friend and business partner, Ben, who was 29 back then. I was naive back then and everyone convinced me to marry Ben because he is nice and he would let me continue my studies and even let me work. My sister told me that getting married early meant that I get to spend more time to love him. She convinced me that arranged marriages work and I would be happy. I believed them and agreed. Few days before my marriage, I found out that Abe owed Ben a lot of money and Ben said that he would forgive Abe's debt if he gets to marry me. I freaked out and tested Ben. I told him that I have already applied and paid the fees for my college. He yelled at me and told me that I shouldn't do anything without his permission. He told me that he was gonna let me study but now he is not going to. I ran away from home that night with nothing but the clothes on my back. Cut everyone off. Went to a new city. Busted my ass in college. Got a great job. Fell in love. Got married to another child-free Indian. A year ago, my sister reached out to me. She found me by hiring someone to find me. She started off by wanting to be sisters again. Slowly, she started asking me for money. Snide remarks about how Abe threw her out of the house after I ran, how Ben screwed their family and left them nearly homeless as revenge, etc. It's like she is bipolar. Sometimes, she tells me that she too wished that she had run away and found a life like mine. Sometimes, she tells me that I was a selfish bitch that ruined her family and marriage. She was going on one such rant yesterday and I lost it. I pretty much told her that it is not my fault that she is poor or that her marriage is miserable. I abruptly cut her off again and refused to send her any more money. Aita here because she really does need that money and I earn enough that the amount I was sending her monthly wasn't making any dents for me. It also means that Abe might throw her/the kids out of the house again. She called me crying and apologizing but I told her to stop calling and blocked her. She was married off when she was 20. She was never allowed to work. She doesn't have any support system there. So, I feel really guilty. Am I the asshole for refusing to speak to my sister because she wouldn't let my daughter be a flower girl at her wedding? She originally was a flower girl, and causing multiple family members to boycott too. So I, 28F, have a sister, 26F, who got married last month. I'm gonna be blunt, my sister has always been one of those people that has to have everything perfect to the point sometimes it was hard to be around her, but she was my little sister and I've no other siblings, so I always made excuses when she'd hurt me when I was doing things right in her eyes. I was kinda nervous when she asked me and my daughter, 4, to be bridesmaids in February because I knew she was gonna be a massive bridezilla. Over the last few months we have had to practice multiple dances, pay for very expensive dresses and put up with her tantrums. I told her from the start if she was anyway nasty to my child I wouldn't stand for it. She assured me she'd never be nasty towards her favorite person in the whole world. Well, her now husband's little cousin, 8, started coming to dance practice with her mom and my sister started to ask her do little things like show my daughter how to throw the petals. I honestly thought she'd make them both flower girls for a while, but when she started to make my daughter sit out and have the little girl do her poem I knew what was gonna happen but prayed I was wrong. I invited her out to coffee a few weeks before the wedding and asked her what was going on. She told me she was glad I brought it up because she was looking for the right time. Apparently my 4-year-old wasn't doing everything right and she was afraid she was gonna mess up her version by saying the wrong thing or not doing the dance right on the day. I told her she doing a pretty good job and everyone was always praising her. Sister giggled and said it's not their day now, is it? So it's not up to us what's good enough for her wedding. I asked her straight up did she think her niece wasn't good enough to be in her wedding. She replied with not as something big as a flower girl but to attend. I asked her how was I gonna break it to my daughter who's excited about being in the wedding. She just told me figure it out. I told her I'd give her a day to rethink her decision, if not we wouldn't attending, not speaking to her ever again, then left. Well, 2 days went so I couldn't put it off any longer. I broke the news to my child. Even though I tried my hardest and sugarcoated it as much as possible, the news still broke her heart. She cried herself to sleep, so did I and my husband. Well, after a week when I was a no-show for anything, my sister started to panic and started to get every to talk to me, even drop off gifts for my daughter. When I told them why, a good number of our family including bridesmaids dropped out. We ended up going for a few weeks away with no phones. When we came back my sister had sent me multiple letters and emails apologizing. Her in-laws and husband have called me an asshole for doing what I did. Edit my Bill saw this post and told my sister who cried reading all your comments. How do I know? Because they showed up at my job knowing I wouldn't want a scene. They begged me to delete the post before people they know see it and kept apologizing. Finally my sister said she might be pregnant. I told even if she is, pregnancy doesn't wash away all the shitty things she's done, and I hope her husband's siblings never treats her child the way she treated mine, because I don't plan to be a part of her life. She busted into tears saying she was sorry and she loves my daughter. I told her leave before I called security, and her husband tried to talk to me alone because I was making her so upset and everyone was cold towards them because of me. I told them no, everyone was cold because Cinderella and Prince Charming forgot that after treating everyone like shit that no one wanted to be in their happy ever after. They didn't like my mocking tone and raised their voice at me. My boss told them leave, who knows the situation and has a 5-year-old herself, so she's on my side. My sister's Mel reached out to my parents asking for everyone to meet up on neutral terms so we can all work out our differences. I'm gonna go to this dinner party because I want to hear their story and officially tell them leave me alone. I will update you guys. Am I the asshole for telling my mom if she gets rid of my cat I'm flushing her mom's ashes down the toilet? My 16M dad recently passed away and he left behind a cat named Luna that both me and my dad loved, but my mom did not like Luna due to her not being able to get along with her, plus being more of a dog person. Luna has a similar personality to my dad and I hold her very dear to my heart. She's my best friend and helped me when I was struggling with my mental health, and we also have papers from my doctor saying she's an ESA. Well, my mom recently went on her Facebook announcing she wants to give Luna a new loving home when we have plenty of money and resources to take care of her. I told her to take down the offer for Luna, that she is happy with me and does not need to go to another home. My mom said she's tired of Luna and wants to get rid of the reminders of my dad. I told her if she gets rid of Luna I'm flushing her mom's ashes down the toilet. My mom said things among the lines of don't you dare, and said she can do as she pleases with her cat. I told her if she can do as she pleases with my cat, I can do as I please with my grandma. She said that wasn't reasonable. Edit, I just want to mention that my mom was not a good person to my dad during their marriage, and I believe my dad was considering divorce for about a month. I also suspected my mom was cheating on my dad and told my dad of such, but I don't think she was ever caught in the act. My dad also had a very suspicious death. He died in his sleep while having no major conditions that would make him more susceptible to this cause of death.